Good.
Yeah, I'm driving with the music. I don't know if you've been seeing me doing it. I love it. If you know QPTV, the daily social is life. Da da da.
Starting it. You're watching QPTV Daily Social Live. QPTV.org's live daily show. I'm your host for today, James. Let's get started. We have a lot that you're going to enjoy and a lot of surprises. Let's get going. We have a ton of resources, information, links, and videos on COVID-19 and especially COVID-19 in Queens. QPTV's own Queens Conversations and Queens Perspectives has an ongoing series of episodes focusing on COVID-19 in Queens. Go to qptv.org to check it all out.
With COVID-19 vaccines here, New York City is coming back strong. Safe and effective vaccines are coming to all New Yorkers soon. Get vaccinated when it becomes available to you. Learn more at nyc.gov/COVID vaccine.
We're back. QPTV Daily Social Live. As I said, we're expanding the show every day. And I'm thrilled to have our first guest on the show. The one and only Christian Knight. He's the host of Lunch Break, one of my favorite shows. And absolutely an incredibly talented wizard at production, streaming, social media. We have him on right here. CK. Welcome to Daily Social Live. How are you?
Hey, thank you for the invite, for bringing me here onto the QPTV Daily Social Live. It is a great honor and privilege.
It's an honor to have
How are you doing today?
I'm great.
Thank you.
I'm thrilled to have you here. Because we've been trying to get this going, and I'm happy that you're our first guest here because not only are you incredibly good on the air, but you carry a lot of knowledge. Yeah. Being humble, that's part of it too.
Listen, the good thing comes from everyone. Like, I can't be here if it wasn't for the major support of everyone out there, those watching, those who are seeing us in any type of way or form of platform, on a phone, on a tablet, on the internet. Listen, even on other mainstream medias, but definitely here on QPTV Social.
Absolutely. Now, we talked earlier, and I really am looking forward to today's interview, or sort of a casual sort of interview, but I really am looking forward, and I even put it in the title on the lower third. I want to make this a regular segment that we have the host of Lunch Break, who's been doing this. I mean, one of the most amazing things about you and your show is the consistency. How many episodes of Lunch Break have you done?
We are actually on 122 episodes right now.
Think about
we've started about like 2 years and a half now.
I want to just tell the audience, think about your favorite TV show, whatever it is, and how many episodes after however many seasons they're on. The consistency of doing that type of program, sort of as a solo production crew, is amazing.
Yeah.
So obviously,
we've.
Go ahead.
We and that's okay. Listen, this is all what it's about. It's all live and all social. We've actually done an episode, give or take, every single Friday since July of 2019. We've done a live every single Friday up to this date today. And yeah, as you said, it's been consistency. Every single time, that 1 hour, doing that Friday, and we're actually on our season 5 right now, and season 6 is right around the corner because we're literally on episode 17. So we've done like 26 episodes per season. So yeah, 5th season already.
I have to ask because I know that a feature of your show is that you try to showcase a new recipe every week. And of course,
yes.
I have to ask the question, how do you keep up with that? How do you come up with ideas? How do you not repeat yourself?
Well, I think I'm screwing that up in a second. First of all, the main part of the recipe is that I've never done it ever in my entire life. So there's been 121 episodes that I've actually done literally for the first time ever. And the thing about it is that I'll just go online and see between the titles that I've done and seeing the recipes that exist. I mean, there's billions upon billions of different recipes and foods that are out there. So will I ever make something that's similar? Maybe. I mean, it could be, for example, a burger. There's many different styles to a burger. You can add an egg to it, and boom, that's already a different one right there. But it definitely is hard to make a recipe every week, but it's not that difficult. It may be hard, but it's not that difficult. Only for the other fact is that I'm actually doing it for dinner. In the beginning of the show, we used to do it for all our colleagues and my friends, and then that would be it. But now, ever since this whole COVID thing, actually, I've been taking it and turning it into the fact of making it for dinner. So I have to make something that's edible, or else, I'll end up throwing out the whole food, and then it's called takeout after that.
Right.
Right.
So it's not a matter of putting together this thing just for video. You're actually making your meal.
Right.
There's no waste.
It's dinner.
Yeah.
It's dinner for dinner. So even though it's lunch break and we're doing it for lunch, it's actually our dinner. So,
Right.
But it definitely, I mean, there's all the surrealness about it, because if it comes out bad and it tastes bad, listen, I'm going to tell you straight out that is bad. There's no sugarcoating this. There's no behind the scenes editing that we're doing live. And hey, here's the meal already pre-done. Like, no, everything's all in real time. If I burn my hand, I hope I don't burn it that badly on screen, but it definitely happens for real.
You can see that from the show, and I think that's what a lot of people appreciate. That it's real. That it's when you want to watch a streaming program, especially on social media, if you're looking at your phone or whatever, you expect a certain level of reality. It combines the sort of TV that we're used to as a TV show, but it feels like it's completely born out of streaming media and social media. It's that type of program. I know you. The full disclosure, I'm always watch the show. I'm always in the comments. So I understand how interactive it is. Where most TV shows aren't affected by the audience, and it's one of those things where you have a live feedback from the host with your audience, and it's a unique thing. Because it's not just on social media, you also put it on the air and you stream it everywhere.
So that was one of the major aspects of creating Lunch Break, was that there were often times that I would see certain shows and it'll wait a while before you get a comment back from the people who are doing their shows. Even when they're doing live, most of the time your question doesn't make it on, or no one get back to you. So it makes you feel like, okay, was that not that important, or was my question not that important? So I felt like, besides doing the show in the way we did it, I wanted to make more of the interactive audience to take part. Hey, by the way, don't put too much salt. Hey, by the way, did you know that sauce, if you put sugar in it, you can calm down the acidity, stuff like that. So I wanted to not only educate people on the food that I'm making, because I'm also educating myself, I wanted them to also take part in the fact that, hey, we're doing this actually technically together. Even though I'm your hands, you can do a recipe that you've done a billion times over, and all of a sudden, oh, smack, I didn't know that if you add paprika, it actually does something to the food. You know what I mean? So something like that. And I love and cherish the tidbits that any of the audience give in, because, hey, it makes you for a better cook. And it makes you for a better person, because, mind you, we didn't get here by ourselves. So I'm not talking, even though there'll be days that it's just me and the robot. Listen, I don't mind it, because at the end of the day, you never know that somebody down the road looks at that video and, hey, you know what? I did that recipe and it came out much better than the way I did it before. And that's awesome, Like, for example, did you ever know that you can actually make meatloaf in the microwave and not in the oven by itself, and it takes you 15 minutes?
You learn.
Yeah, there's a lot of different techniques and things that you can do. So it's definitely, I wanted to make it more educational and more interactive with the audience than just making the recipe and alone. Because you can make a recipe and it can be done within minutes. But, the interaction you get from the audience, really impacts the way the food gets done, because I could be talking and I could be cooking, but they're my eyes and ears in case, look, there's a fire behind you. Don't forget that,
So they're really in the kitchen with you.
Oh, yeah, I'm grateful for that.
The unofficial sous chef is the audience.
That is definitely true. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they are all the sous chefs. I definitely greatly appreciate that, and also because of the fact that the people in the audience, they're watching from all over the world. We get people from Sweden, Alaska, China, Saudi Arabia was recent, actually. So yeah, we appreciate all those things. Anyone coming in, I make sure that they feel that they're acknowledged, and that they're being a participant not only on the live but as part of the show.
You definitely get that sense of community. I know that you've expanded on. You were always on Facebook, and you expanded as you moved on to platforms like YouTube and Instagram and Twitch. And I know Twitch. I know you're a gamer. It's a big gamer community on there. And now it's expanding to sort of a broader range of media, different types of programs. And the thing about that platform especially is the big sense of community. And I know you've grown a huge community, not huge, but in the sense that when you're doing things like streaming or if you're on QPTV, you want to build an audience. And your audience could go as far as your core handful of people to being on a major scale. But as long as you have an audience that fits who you are and your brand, it's perfect. And I think you've definitely found that on that platform. And I think it's not just the platform itself that leads to it. There's definitely something in the way you're producing and promoting yourself on there that has affected the way this has worked. Do you have anything you want to say about how that's been for you?
So, I've always said to people is that basically use all the resources that are available to you. So not only is streaming important, so is anything that's local. So like QPTV, for example, that's local. They're around the area of TV via network through cable systems and everything. So you want to utilize all those resources to basically put yourself out there. Because as I had a conversation before with a few individuals where if you're doing something, if no one knows you exist, you're not going to be able to go that far. You can only go so far with verbal communication to people and word of mouth here and there. But if you really want to make it out there, there's a lot of resources, just like QPTV, that's available for you, and tap into it. The social media is good, the streaming platforms are good, but you want to be able to make sure that you're covering your bases, that you're literally putting yourself out in everything and anything that's available to you, to cover yourself on TV, to cover yourself on the internet. You want to make sure that whatever it is that you're trying to do as a vision for your own program or your streams, you want to make sure that it's getting across to everyone, everywhere where they can actually access it. So that was basically the concept of it. I am grateful that QPTV allows me to bring my program to the airways via TV. I'm grateful for all the streaming platforms that allow me to bring the programs to their platform as well. And it just grows from there. The audience becomes bigger and bigger. And then as soon as you know it, you're basically creating that whole aspect of your program reaching much, much higher heights. And stuff like that.
All right. Let me stop it right there for now. We're going to take a little break because we want to tell the audience, we want to let people know what's going on with QPTV today and later on this week and what they can look at the website. And we'll continue this wonderful conversation with Christian Knight, host of Lunch Break, QPTV's own, right after this. Okay, folks, let's see if this is going to work. As I said, we're trying some new things out. And in the process, we have to improvise. So let's see if we can play out. We want to let you know. You can watch us live there. Not only can you watch. All right. So let's pause. We're on Facebook. You can find us on social media. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. You can watch us live stream there. You could also find us on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. It's at QPTV. You can also email us directly at media@qptv.org. Questions, comments. You could also find us on the channels, your cable channels, that is Spectrum, RCN, and Files. Go to qptv.org/guide to get the latest updates and the listings. You can watch us live there. Not only can you watch.
Okay. Where's the video?
We're back. We'll get right back to Christian Knight in a second. But I want to tell you about the Marvin Hamlish Awards.
I don't have a write-up for it right now.
But what we'll play this promo for you, and you can take a look, watch on QPTV tonight.
We celebrate the life and career of a composer who realized outsized success in multiple genres and who shared that success by establishing scholarships here for students of music. Tonight, we celebrate the life and career of a composer who realized outsized success.
Right here at QPTV.org. That'll be tonight at 7 p.m. Let's get back to our discussion with the host of Lunch Break, Christian Knight. There we go.
Hello.
Hey. Welcome back.
Let's mute the music here, that background music, so we can hear you clearly.
So one of the things I wanted to talk to you about today, and we'll touch on it because, like I said, I want to make this a feature of our show. I want to bring you back on to talk about it on a regular basis because I think part of our mission at QPTV is to continually educate our citizenship and our core user base, the community, on media education. We want to not only teach people how to create media, but how to then help spread the word about their content, their media, their message. That's all part of it. So one of the things we talked about a little bit earlier before the show is sort of the process. I think what a lot of people fall into the trap of is creating a show or creating a project, and then it's sort of working the first couple times around, and then sticking to that plan without sort of looking over the work or having people take a look at it and critique it. I think there's a certain level of
fear, obviously, that you're doing the wrong thing, but obviously there is a process to learning where you're going to be wrong along the way, and part of those corrections is your learning. It's a learning process. Do you want to share anything about from where you started to where you are today after doing so many episodes?
Yeah, so, definitely. So basically, what ended up happening is that when I first started off the show, the real main, I say, focus of it, like I said before, was the interaction of the audience. Besides the actually choosing what food to make, I had to learn how to go about breaking the show into different segments. In order so in this way I can fulfill not only educating people about the recipe, doing the recipe, interacting with the viewers at the same time, and also recognizing the viewers in the aspect of them coming on and allowing me to be in their living room at the same time watching me. So it actually all began, no lie, I'm trying to gather all of them, with Post-it notes. So that's basically how it all began, like from the title and the recipes, like all the recipes will be written down on the Post-it note, know the ingredients, and the things that the audience wouldn't see is that I would post it on the cupboard right in front of me. So this way I'm like, oh, okay, am I supposed to add that now? Okay. And that's what I would do. So it evolved into the fact that I gotta basically take with me what was good from the episode and what was bad. Did I interact poorly with the audience? Did I forget to mention certain things? Did I not include the recipe? What did I forget from the actual program that I did that I can do better the next time around? So from the Post-it notes, it actually evolved into a notebook, where now I started to include even the participants, basically the audience members who were actually part of the show, to give them acknowledgement and give them credit for, being on the show and taking part in the recipe creation and giving them tidbits if they did, which are like golden nuggets. So I wanted to do that back for them because, like I said, we can't create the show without the support of the audience and everybody that's out there, and the media platforms. So I wanted a way to make sure that I recognize them, especially in the credits or even during the show, to give acknowledgement to them. Besides the audience and the places that I'm streaming from, even QPTV, I wanted to make sure that I didn't forget. So at one point, that also evolved into people were asking, hey, can I give a shout out to so-and-so? Can you say happy birthday to my kid? Today's their 7th birthday. And I'm like, hey, that's a good idea. You know what? Let me take that with me. So I started like, you know what? Let's do that for everybody. Let's go across the board and let's acknowledge everyone for everything. Let's acknowledge them for their birthdays, their surgery that they just came through in recovery. Let's add that to the show somehow. And at the same time, let's try to cook and make sure we cook the food properly so we don't end up dying from not cooking food properly. So then it evolved to that. So you get your episode recipe here, you get your birthday shout outs, you get your title, the time, how long it took, and all the participants. But then it wasn't enough. So the show started to grow more, and the demand for more acknowledgement was there. So I wanted to make sure that not only we were covering the food, because that's one of the main focus, but also the audience. Because remember, we can't grow the program or can't grow anywhere without the audience. So I was like, you know what? Let's mash this together. Let's do a show once we give rebirth to our show and acknowledge everyone in the same aspect as we do for the food. Let's give them some knowledge about the food. Let's stick to that. Then let's start making the food. And at the same time, while we're making the food, we'll interact with the audience. Hey, do you know the fact that you can't use this no more? Because if you can't, you can use this as a substitution. And I greatly appreciate the fact that, my wife takes an actual active role now, as a sous chef. So my wife, Melissa, actually becomes part of the show. Normally we had Doobie participate. We even had you once. Yeah. So, that type of interaction makes it more for a worthwhile, experience. So that notebook aspect wasn't able to hold all that information of acknowledgement when it came down to it. Right. So I said, you know what? Let's create something, some sort of something for ourselves where we can put all that down. So from every episode, we learned something new, and it became an actual document. So now the document, we can actually include the recipes, include all the participants, everyone's birthday that we're going to give shout outs to, acknowledge people in the community at the same time, give notations, and literally give back to them for the fact of thank you so much for being here, because you are what created the show, and make it done every single week. Because if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be here. So I wanted to make sure there was a way to give back to them, because they even appreciate just a hello, a welcome, a thank you. And we do the same. We acknowledge everyone across the board, because in order to create this community that we have to acknowledge every single foundation that we've created along the way. From QPTV to YouTube to Twitch, all the streaming platforms, but mostly we cannot do it without the help and support of the audience and the people that's out there. That's the major factor of it.
Absolutely.
And that's how basically the show has grown. So from a little post-it note to the demands of greatness, because that's what I call it, the demands of greatness, because you guys are all great. That's basically what we do. And that's how it came about. Definitely a lot of tidbits on there from the audience to be provided and to give back. But, that's what you have to take, though. You have to take every episode you do, see what worked, see what didn't, and basically grow from there. We had times when we were experiencing technical difficulties with the cameras we had, and they were overheating. So, it kind of felt bad that we had to reconnect all the time. And, most of the audience, when they see that, some return, some don't. So I wanted to make sure that there was a way we can correct that going forward. Even if it took us 1 or 2 tries to try to fix it, I wanted to make sure that we brought back the video quality that the audience is looking for. Right. So that's one of the aspects that you always have to make sure you work on. Anything that was a downfall, that may seem like a downfall, is the only thing that we have to correct all the time. And listen, the audience loves it. The audience participation is basically what I need, because sometimes I'll have the music playing so loud and I wouldn't know because it's streaming out. And I welcome that. Hey, by the way, your music is still on. I can't hear you. Like, oh, smack, thank you. Yeah, let me go fix that. Right. You know what I mean? Because there'll be some people who watch the stream, music going the entirety of your stream or on TV, and no one says anything. Like, oh, maybe he just meant to do that. Like, no, I just didn't know it was still on. So that type of participation is always what I always welcome, because you never know what may happen. And like you said, a one-man production is what we do here. So there'll be times when I forget. There's times when I have to create something just to do the prep work of everything that I need to do,
Absolutely.
From start to finish.
Absolutely.
So that's definitely there.
It's not only, I think what your experience tells people and why this is good that we're doing it now is that you over time you figured that out, and you have that knowledge now where you can say, maybe you should start out with this, because it's a lot to keep track of. And if you know how much is going to be involved ahead of time, it helps determine whether you have the will or not to do it. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. That is very true. I mean, I had to come up with ways to make sure I stayed on point with the fact of doing the prep work early enough to make sure that I can troubleshoot it if there's any issues beforehand. So this way, when it came time to actually do the show, I only run into maybe 1 or 2 technical issues and not several at the same time. Prep work is always key to any type of function, no matter if it's a live event, whether it's an event you're doing for something else. But preparation is always key, because if you don't do it beforehand, you won't see what's wrong with it when you go live. The moment you go live or you do an event, you can't change it, because you got to just go with the flow and think on your feet to basically correct it.
Oh, yeah.
So definitely preparation is key. Make that sheet to make sure you do what you need to do beforehand, So in this way, if you do run into issues while prepping, you know how to fix it before you do it. That definitely is true.
I agree completely. Let's take another quick break, and we'll be right back with Christian Knight with these nuggets of knowledge. Right here on Daily Social Live. Be right back.
Coronavirus recently claimed the life of Lorena Borjas, a 57-year-old transgender Jackson Heights resident. Lorena moved to the U.S. when she was 21. As a sex worker and trafficking survivor, Lorena dedicated her adult life to providing her transgender companions and gay immigrant men with information, advice, food, and medical supplies. She worked as an educator at community health centers across the city and was an advocate and activist for the transgender and immigrant communities. If you would like to learn more about Lorena, you can view a QPTV documentary about her life at qptv.org/queensstories. Coronavirus recently claimed the life of Lorena Borjas, a 57-year-old transgender Jackson Heights resident. Lorena moved to the U.S. when she was 21. As a sex worker and trafficking survivor, Lorena dedicated her...
As I always say, this is a learning process. We're trying something new today. In fact, let's bring back up CK, since he's more of an expert on this than I am for sure. In this workflow. That's the thing. I'm still getting used to controlling a bunch of things at once. It's fun though. I'm not deterred.
And that's a good thing. Consistency, determination, and basically getting frustrated is the key of getting something accomplished. Definitely is good.
Before we continue with our interview, I just want to remind people that tomorrow at 2 p.m. QPTV will be... Let me get that going here on my screen. QPTV will be streaming, simulcasting, whatever it's called. City and State, New York. Coronavirus Update. It's a series in partnership with the Office of Counsel to the Mayor. A webinar featuring Mayor de Blasio's closest and legal policy advisors, moderated by city and state editorial staff. Hear from the mayor's closest legal and policy advisors addressing New York City's response to the COVID-19 pandemic and its effect on education. Get the latest updates on reopening plans, school safety, remote learning, and the path forward for the nation's largest school district. Make sure you watch that. QPTV.org. That'll be live on the channel, or I should say on the website. I don't have all the information right now because of the nature of today's show. We're trying some new things here, and I'm very happy that
coronavirus recently claimed the life.
That's interesting why that keeps happening. Yeah, Mr. CK on with us. And we'll continue with our interview right now. And I think what I'm curious about now is I know that you spend a lot of time on how the show works, sort of in front of the camera, but I know you do a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff for the show. Do you want to elaborate on how you've been able to sort of get your show's name and content out there into the universe?
Yes. So basically, like we were touching upon before, I said the aspect on basically making a presence for yourself. So word of mouth goes to a certain extent and goes a long way, but falls short if word of mouth just dies to just the next person. So the only way you're going to get yourself out there in a presence is basically tapping into those resources that we were talking about before that are like social medias. So basically using those resources like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, those are a few of the different sources that you can actually tap into to promote the show. Now, when doing so, you have to keep in mind is that there's tons and tons of people on all these social medias. So how do you basically filter that out so that you yourself have a presence? Best way is that tag people that are interested in what you do. If it's food, tag anything that's related to food-wise that are up there in the industry. But also don't forget the local ones. You know, you want to make sure that the local ones are also tagged into it, from their profiles to a hashtag. You know, basically, there's a lot of people based on Twitter that actually don't go to people's personal pages. They actually go by a search engine and they'll type in burgers, they'll type in recipes, you know, something that will make it easier for them to see all the posts, the same way that they do news. So if you have anything that's on that recipe or that video that you're doing, that program, make sure you put a hashtag for it. Even if it exists, even if there's like 1,000 of them. The way that the algorithm works for social media is that the first 35 to 100 are the ones that pop up on any of your platforms. So if you go to your own social media, those are the ones that are going to pop out every 30 minutes to an hour. Same thing for Instagram. I know most of it, you can't actually put a link and no one can click on it, but you can actually put those filters, and this is the secret no one's going to tell you. You can put those filters behind the image as a hashtag, and it too will do the same thing. So you can put another image above it and put the filter and hide it anywhere in the photo, and it'll actually still tag all those filters that are related to your event, to your graphic, to your video, to your IGTV, all those things. So they'll bring in there. So once someone goes on their social media, they'll be able to see you on their cycle when they scroll through. And that's the thing. That's what you want. You want that exposure. So definitely put an at of the username. And at the same time, you know, if you have any celebrities that you admire, and I'm not talking about the ones that are mainstream that we're not going to talk about over here, those that you actually, you know, they're like mentors to you, that give a presence to your show. Tag them in it. You never know if they'll be interested, because that's the thing. Even if you never know, and I learned this from a great man from a very huge company. This is down there, right here. The answer is always no unless you ask. So don't be timid to tag someone. Don't be timid to put that hashtag. Because like I said, unless they tell you, hey, by the way, can you stop doing that? By all means, do it at the beginning. Don't be harassful, but just tag them. You never know if they're interested in. Hey, I never knew that John Wesley Shipp, name drops, was interested in food and cooking. I didn't know Rachel Ray was interested in food and cooking. Oh, wait, that's what she does. So, you never know that these people will take an interest in your own show until you do it. And that's the thing. You can't be afraid to put it out there because, no, I'm never going to amount to it. It's never going to grow. You don't know. So why don't you take the opportunity right now to take that chance? Listen, I use one of these big major streamers that literally said, and he says it every time on his stream, that he did a live stream for 3 years with just him and the bot. 3 years. No one came into his video. No one would watch him. No one did anything for 3 years straight. It was him and a robot that he would talk to. And he still did it every year. Mind you, non-stop, 365 days times 3. And then all of a sudden, boom, he was being watched. He was being acknowledged. He was being shown out there, and his presence was being known. So remember, you have to be able to make your presence, even if it's a little bit. You never know, that little seed that you plant outside grows to be that huge and that big into a big, massive tree that supports the foundation of everything you create. So just do it. You never know. That's how it basically is. But you have to do it. That's just basically it. Even if you don't feel motivated, listen, there's sometimes that I don't feel motivated, and then I think about my audience and I'm like, you know what? No, the audience is waiting for me to do something because this is their outlet as well. It's not my own. I'm not doing it for myself. They're also waiting for me to do something for them. Because, listen, they could be taking their break during that time. They could be saying, you know what, I need something that can de-stress me. And watching your program or your show or watching TV will take that away from them because it'll distract them enough to feel, you know what, okay, I'm calm, I'm good, let's do this. So don't be afraid to do it, but definitely touch on all the resources you can to make that presence known, because if you don't, it's just basically like you talking to the wall. It won't go that far. You can go outside your balcony or outside in the streets and scream, but only the people around you or to a certain distance can hear you. You want to be able to magnify that across the satellite to everyone across the world. So definitely there's resources for that, but don't forget to do your things locally as well, because you can't grow if you don't grow from where you are at. So make sure you tap into those local resources as much as you can and find out what's available to you, especially QPTV, all your local resources you need to tap into, because, hey, if you don't, someone will. Definitely. They exist for you to utilize.
Absolutely.
I mean, you may not know about it, but this is why we're here to tell you about it.
Absolutely. And
that's a great point. And on that, we're going to take one quick break and then we'll wrap up with Christian Knight right here on QPTV Daily Social Live.
QPTV Radio
is on the air, providing community-centered programming from Queens Public Television in New York City. QPTV Radio offers an interesting and eclectic mix of unique content, from QPTV's original podcasts to audio versions of our award-winning television programs. Listen to QPTV Radio at qptv.org or download the Live 365 app on your mobile device, and you can listen to QPTV Radio on the go. Coronavirus recently claimed the life of Lorena Borhaus, a 57-year-old transgender Jackson Heights resident.
Hold on.
All right.
Bugs, let's get... I can't find my cursor. There we go. Welcome back, Christian Knight. As you can see, I need a lot of advice from our guest today.
But
hey, listen, it's all about troubleshooting. You're good. You're doing good, man. No worries. It took me a while to get the handle of it, but definitely it's all part of the fun. You know,
I agree.
As long as you don't break it, you're good. Just keep troubleshooting. You know, but hey, you know what? No, actually, I take that back, because I learned something from even a greater man who's on the stream right now. Right there. Wait, no, this way. There you go, right there. Because he taught me at one time when I was writing a book, and I literally lost the entire of it because it was in my bag and I was handwriting it, and I lost it on a trip going home on the train. I came out the next day and I saw all my work all over the ground, gone. God knows what I wrote, and I remember what James said to me. You know what? That might have been your first draft, but your next draft is going to be even better. And I literally, no lie, I was frustrated at first. And I was like, damn, I can never get back all that stuff that I wrote. But you know what? That which I wrote was still here. So all I did was just go back to it and just start writing it. But this time I wrote it digitally.
That's a different story. Yeah. That's
I mean, you have to be consistent.
Yeah. I have to say, definitely. You've been an inspiration in doing this because I see your consistency, and I can see that something like this can be done, and that gives me all the confidence and encouragement to do it. So I definitely appreciate that. Before we go,
man, don't make me cry, man. I'm trying not to cry, man. Don't make me cry.
Not on today's show. We'll have this about to say. We'll bring you on in the future. We'll schedule crying, whatever we need to do in the future. But we got to build up to it. We want to build up the suspense. It's like a roller coaster, you know. So, like I said, we want to work on figuring out the schedule, getting you on our show on a regular basis to talk about not only production and streaming and social media and your show and everything else, but I feel like you can bring a lot to the table on our show because you probably know more about QPTV than I do. So with that, please let the people know where they can find you, where they can watch Lunch Break, etc. Shameless plug. Please go ahead.
Basically, if you go to Linktree, I think it is, right? .com or something like that. / Christian Knight without the H. You can find me on all social medias with that name. It's basically everywhere. Christian Knight basically all over social media with just that name alone. But definitely, you can watch me here on QPTV on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Just check your local listings. I can't give you all the work. You guys got to meet me halfway. Go to QPTV.org to their schedule so you can find out where my lunch break is. But definitely on all social media platforms, on Facebook, on Twitch, on YouTube.
Recently claimed the life of Lorena Borhaus.
I keep doing that, and I forget that needs to be fixed. Sorry, go ahead.
Hey, listen, that's all about working the whole function of your stream. So definitely, just look it up there, Christian Knight without the H. Find me, add me, follow me. But don't forget to follow your local public access station, right here, right down there. Come on, you can do it. Right there, social media, right there.
Right there.
Because
QPTV.
you're gonna miss out all the tidbits, all the ideas, all the knowledge and education that you could be doing, that you're already doing at home. Share those tidbits with the world. Why not? Listen, you never know. Hey, you're interested in something, you want to get that vision out there? Right here, QPTV.org. Watch, learn, create. That's the motto. So do it.
Here is a wise man.
And you want to hear more.
Subscribe, follow, listen to QPTV Daily Social Live right here. With that, I'm going to end the show because we don't have enough time to play things. I have people calling me from work, and that's not going to stop. So I got to stop the fun for now. This has been great. Thank you so much, CK. You really are.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming on the show, being our first guest, and being a wonderful guest, and hopefully we'll be a part of the regular Daily Social Live family.
Definitely. We are like, basically, we are like your favorite TV show. You watch an episode a week and you're waiting for more for next. But this one is daily, so don't forget to come back tomorrow. There's big more.
And with that, come back tomorrow.
See you guys. Come back tomorrow.